Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump, and today I'm doing my top 5 favourite unique Easter eggs that can be found in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, Smash Bros. As a series is well known for its characters when it comes to its roster, uh, and whenever a new game comes out, people are excited to see which characters are brought in. But also within the games, you can find a variety of Easter eggs that you might not have noticed or known about where they come from when it comes to either the stages or a particular character or stuff like that. So yeah, this list or this video is just going to be me talking about some of my favorites. So for number 5 is Link's Sword Beam. Now, in the Legend of Zelda series, Link can use sword beams attacks, and this can change depending on which games you're playing. So if, for example, in a large majority of the games, you can use the sword beams attacks when you're at full health. But if you're playing Skyward Sword, you can do a Skyward Strike if you raise your sword to the air, and then you release the energy from that afterwards. And this can be seen in Smash Bros. Ultimate, in that if Link is at full HP or hasn't been hit, he will do a sword beam attack if you do I think it's like a smash or smash attack, I believe. And if Link gets hit, so let's say he gets hit and he's dealt like 1% of damage, let's say, he won't be able to do that sword beam attack until he's taken off the stage. And that's, I think, a really cool and unique way of doing an attack and stuff like that, because if you want to play with the game and mess around with it, you will want to try like every form of attack that a particular character has. And for Link, with that particular sword beam attack, it's kind of cool to be part of the game and stuff like that. So yeah, for number 4 is Majora's Mask's Great Bay Coast stage. Now, with this stage, there are 2 main Easter eggs that I want to talk about in this particular stage. That being the moon and the heart piece that can be found within the stage. So first off, with the moon, because Majora's Mask is all about time and you having to race against the clock before the moon crashes into Termina, you will see the moon in the stage getting closer and closer, and then I think at the last minute, the giants that you find around the game will help lift the moon back up into the sky, and that's really cool. And I think it adds to the stage as a whole. But also, if you pause the level or pause the stage at any time and you move the camera, you can see, I think, off to the left of the stage, you can find you can see a piece of heart, which was where the actual piece of heart is that you can find in the game. And again, it's really cool of like how elements like that is put into a game, and just how it's done and how a stage is revolving around a particular game, like when you see it in the background and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really cool like thing to add into the game. So yeah. For number 3 is Ryu's one-on-one fighting, and I think you can also add Ken and Terry as well to this as this point as well, because if you've got Terry or Ryu or Ryu or Ken or Terry, you can, and if you have any of those characters against any of the other fighters, if it's a one-on-one, they will look forward to them, like in terms of like they will move and how they will do in their arcade games, and that's so cool. And if it's like 3 or more people, then Ryu and Ken and Terry will just behave like any of the other fighters when it comes to movement, and that's really cool. And I think with how it's done, it's such a cool little thing, and I think it's adding to the arcade element to it, being a reference to that as well. It's so I think it's one of those things you wouldn't really notice until it's pointed out to you. I think that what makes this particular Easter egg unique to Smash Bros. In terms of like, oh, did you know that Ryu can do and Ken and Terry can do this particular thing in this particular style? And yeah, it's just one of those really cool Easter eggs it's one of those things that, as I said before, you wouldn't notice until it is pointed out to you. So yeah, for number 2, it's the Mementos color scheme changes. Now with this one, it really depends on what the music is, or which music is being used within the Memento stage, and because this stage has music from Persona 3, 4, and 5, the color will change depending on the music. So, for example, if it's playing any of the music from Persona 5, it will turn red. If it's from Persona 4, it'll change to yellow. If it's Persona 3, it'll change to blue. And those are all based on the color schemes from the respective Persona games. And that's a really cool thing to add, and I do like how it's just, again, similar to Ryu. It's one of those things where, or you might have heard about it like from like the trailers and stuff, but again, you may not notice it or realize it's happening until it's pointed out to you, or you notice it for yourself. And yeah, I think that what makes stages like Mementos give it more flair and more of its own personality, because of what the games is representing when it comes to like the music and the color scheme. Also, the main stage also changes a bit depending on the music. So, for example, I think the best example I can give is whenever it's like a Persona 3 song, you can see like the clocks on the stage, and if it's like Persona 4, you can see like some TVs and stuff like that, and in Persona 5, you can see Morgana, I think, in a sort of like silhouette, is just running on part of the stage. So that's quite cool. And yeah, it's a really cool little thing. And I think Mementos is really cool when it comes to that particular thing as a stage. So yeah. And for number 1 is Joker's costume scheme. Now, Joker, like with any of the other characters, has a different costume color scheme when it comes to picking out a particular version of Joker. So you've got his standard costume, you've got a red costume, you've got a blue one, a yellow one, and a variety of other ones. But there's also some variations of Joker's costume. So you've got one that's red and white, and that is a representation of, or basically a representation of Akechi's costume in Persona 5, before you find out later in the game, in terms of spoilers, spoiler alert, he's the traitor. And you've also got like Akechi's hair color scheme as well for Joker, and then you've also got his school uniform for Joker as well. So you've got like the Shujin color scheme. And I would also do like is that when, depending on if you're in the Phantom Thief attire or the school attire, the way that Arsene is summoned is slightly different, but the same. So what I mean by this is that if you look at Joker's character profile pic on the character bits, where the percentages at, if it's like with Joker's in his Phantom Thief attire, it'll just be his mask. But if it's for his school attire, it'll be his glasses, and both will disappear and reappear when Arsene comes and goes. And that's such a cool thing. And it's just one of those things that I do really like about how the game is used and how much attention to detail is used when it comes to stuff like that. And if there's ever a new Smash Bros. Game with like new characters that has similar things to Joker, I do hope we get to see more stuff like that in terms of how their profile will change depending on a certain situation. So yeah, that's been my top 5 favourite unique Easter eggs in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.